What's going on, guys? Ben here, and in today's video I'm bringing you some highlights of some cool demos that I've tried in Steam's NextFest for October 2023. In total we have 15 games here that I've tried out. Some of these are on my wishlist already, and some of these it was my first time me hearing about these as well. If you're unaware of what Steam's NextFest is, it's basically a festival of sorts for upcoming games, mainly from indie developers, and for a whole week there are demos available that you can just download on Steam and check out the games. There are hundreds, maybe thousands, and there's really not enough time to play them all, but here's 15 of the 30 or so that I've tried so far that stood out to me that might be up your alley as well. These will be in no particular order. I've just kind of put them in a list for you. That means if you see something here you like, you can download it yourself on Steam and try it out and see how it feels and runs on your system. Remember to wishlist anything as well on Steam that catches your eye, as this is incredibly useful for developers to gauge interest, maybe funding and budgets and targets and all that kind of stuff. So it's really useful and helps the devs out a lot from what I've heard. Lastly, before we get started, let me know in the comments below if there's any that you have tried either on this list or not. It would be great to hear what your experiences are and what games you've checked out and what you'd recommend. Please consider hitting that like button as well, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Look, we have 15 games to jump through. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight in. Kicking things off, first we have Enshrouded, a third-person survival action RPG, and I think this brings me Valheim vibes minus the Vikings. More of a magical fantasy setting, but 16-player co-op, creating your worlds that you can invite your friends into and do dungeons, quests, as well as crafting and building your base and all that kind of resource collection stuff. Seems like a cool setting and has a bit more focus on exploration and quests. It remains to be seen if they can pull this off though when it releases in the future. There's no release date for this as of yet, but I expect probably sometime in 2024. 3 words: rock and stone. This spin-off from Deep Rock Galactic that was announced not too long ago is a single-player survivor-like auto shooter. And reading that description from the Steam page makes much more sense from my experience. So I kind of just downloaded this without reading anything. I just thought it was a roguelike or something to that effect. My surprise when this is basically a 3D vampire survivors game set in the Deep Rock Galactic universe. Fantastic. This ran really well and has some cool ideas that brought some new twists to the genre while being recognizably Deep Rock and similar to Vampire Survivors at the same time. It seemed to be 4 classes initially though, so I do wonder how much variation. These games usually give you loads of different characters and classes and builds and stuff like that. And you tend to get many options with the weapons and stuff like that. So it remains to be seen how deep this one can go. Basic premise is you have to kill aliens to lure out the boss enemy, and after you've done enough of that, you need to extract and go on to the next level. It has some elements here like Potato, if you've played that, where basically when you finish one level, you go to the next level and the next level until you eventually die. And Potato is another one in this genre that's like up there as well. Really good. Really recommend it if you like those kind of games. These are like Steam Deck must games, by the way, as well. I can see myself really enjoying this game. I like these types of games. They're great on planes and on flights and stuff like that anyway. Set to release in Q1 2024. And it surprised me. I really enjoyed what I saw of this game, but I am, like I said, I'm a sucker for these games, especially on the Steam Deck. This has to have Steam Deck support at launch, surely. Gunhead is up next as our third game to look at. This is a 3D roguelike FPS, similar to Deadlink a little bit that I previewed on the channel not too long ago, as well as a little bit of Risk of Rain too. Similar to those, you pick your character or your mech suit in this case, and you have to infiltrate a procedurally generated ship, shut down the alarms and shields, and destroy the core while fighting waves of enemies at the same time. This is from the developers Alien Trap and is actually a sequel to their 2D game Cryptark, and they've just made this bigger and better. 3D, great soundtrack as well. This is coming very soon on November 8th this year. Not long to wait for this one at all. This is just coming next month. Okay, so Jusant, I featured this in my October games coming soon video. I'll link that above and in the description below for you, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. This is a meditative climbing action puzzle game. A bit of a mouthful from the developers Don't Nod. I did R about including this, as Don't Nod have quite a fair few big games under the belt now. I'm not sure if they really still count as indie, but this is a bit of a departure from the normal games that they've made in the past, being like Life is Strange and Vampire, so I thought I'd include them anyway. Art style is gorgeous on this one, as well as production value and the feel and the polish of it. You can tell this is a bigger studio for sure, but it's also very close to release. 31st of October is the release date, so not too long to wait. Great time to check it out beforehand as a demo, should you wish to see what it's like before purchasing. Up next, we have Another Crab's Treasure, which is a parody Souls-like of sorts. You are Krill, the hermit crab, and you pick up trash to use as defensive shells to protect you in battle while you fight numerous enemies and embark on an epic treasure hunt to buy back your repossessed shell. It's got some puzzling going on here, platforming as well, with Souls-like combat, heavy hitting foes, requirements to block and dodge in big boss battles. I did die quite a few times in this demo. because I am shockingly bad at these if you've seen my Lies of P Let's Plays, is also full mocking the Souls-like genre in a good way. It's very tongue-in-cheek. I guess most surprising is that it actually performs really well as a Souls-like, in my limited experience of them. I think that's the impressive bit, that it just plays well like that, and it seems to have some depth and nuance as well as being colourful and funny, which is something you don't normally associate with Souls-like. So yeah, I feel like it's a great mix and a great idea. Looking forward to this one. Release date is just 2024 at the moment on Steam, so no set date at this time. This next one is actually from another YouTuber, a guy called Big Fry. He covers a lot of FPS games, and he's actually got a team making this game called Transience. This is a futuristic shooter, more simulated realism such as Escape from Tarkov or Ready or Not, a kind of recoil gunplay handling, cover peeking, etc. I think if you like those types of games, you'll like this probably from the looks of it. However, it is a single player story game. It's not multiplayer though. I don't believe there's multiplayer yet, or whether that's even planned. In the demo, you can just check out the shooting range and a kill room exercise, kind of one of those training and shooting areas against the AI. Handled quite nicely. Going to be keeping my eye on this one. No release date, but the trailer says 2023. But not sure if that's just early access or full release. Maybe 2024. We'll see. If you're an FPS fan, recommend you check this one out for the gunplay. It was really fun. Seventh game to feature is the Thaumaturge. Probably going to butcher that. I think that's how you say it. I should know that from Final Fantasy XIV. This is a story-driven RPG with a choice system and set in the 20th century Warsaw in an alternate world or reality. There are these Salutors which exist, and these are esoteric beings that only Thaumaturges can see and work with. You can order them to fight in battle, and the game has a turn-based combat system as well as a semi-top-down isometric overworld. We can explore and talk to NPCs and pick up quests and mysteries. Very, very RPG conversations with NPCs and stuff, you know, picking choices and all that stuff. Apparently this has multiple endings and choices, but it also looks really nice with detailing and graphics created in Unreal Engine 5. Looking forward to this one, and you don't need to wait too long. 5th December is the release date, and I think if you're a turn-based RPG fan, you'll probably enjoy this. It's a really unique setting as well. Love this. Right, probably the most unique game I played in this list is All Quiet in the Trenches. Only similarity I could draw is maybe This War Is Mine on a certain level, but I certainly haven't played anything like this exactly. It's a narrative turn-based strategy game set in the trenches of World War I. It's actually from the German perspective and is created with support from the German Federal Ministry of Transport and Digital Infrastructure. That's a mouthful of a department. The game is set in 1915 on the Western Front, and you play as a German Unteroffizier responsible for a group of soldiers. Each turn, you need to decide who does what, who rests, who risks getting supplies, who fixes a barricade, etc., and manage the personalities, feelings, stress, health levels, the energy levels. Keep that all balanced as much as possible. Spoiler, you can't please everyone. At the same time, you also have to balance the overall feeling or respect of your men or your superiors, and there's a meter that tracks which side is more support. Are you sucking up to the brass above you? Are you looking out for your lads no matter what? Quite a unique experience. You can play it in English or in native German should you wish even more immersion. And as the game's Steam page says, the choices don't change the war, they change the life of your soldiers. This has a release date of the 17th of January, and I think this is a subjective game. It's a hard one to recommend because it's really different. You might like it, you might not. Best thing to do, and that's what this Steam NextFest is all about. Try it with the demo, see for yourself, and see what you think. I almost didn't play this one, but I thought I'd give it a go, and I really enjoyed it. Sentry is basically Space Orcs Must Die. Same concept, that you have to defend and survive while setting up traps, turrets, ammo stations, etc. And you can also fight yourself, and will be required to do so, as it's one of those tower defense games, but also a first-person shooter as well. Nice art style in my opinion. You can try different builds and traps, take different approaches, as well as what weapons you bring in. This was fun to play, and it will have co-op as well as a single-player campaign. This is just coming soon at the moment on Steam though. Wishlist it if you're interested to get notified when it's coming out in the future. Next up, Sovereign Syndicate, which I initially thought was going to be like a Victorian steampunk Baldur's Gate. It uses tarot cards instead of dice, but it actually reminded me more of Disco Elysium. And if you've played that game, basically it's where the character's state of mind or train of thought is conversing with you in your head, and you can actually like have kind of these inner head monologues. Like you can read what your self-image thinks of yourself, or you know, your self-discipline, like gives you thoughts and feedback and stuff like that. It's definitely fantasy though. In the demo I played as a minotaur with a top hat and a cane of sorts. There's apparently 3 characters you can play as while you investigate the disappearance of society's most vulnerable to uncover a mysterious cult. This one is coming 15th of January 2024, so maybe by then I finally finish Baldur's Gate 3 and I can check this out. This next game is Europa, where you play as an android called Z who sets out in search of answers on Jupiter's terraformed moon, Europa. You'll run, glide, and fly to solve puzzles and explore ruins, and it follows the story of the last human alive. Art style was really nice here, and the music, the soft piano tracks, chef's kiss, was just amazing. Really relaxing music too, just really shout out to the composer there. The movement is super nice and feels fast and agile to move around and explore. I don't think there's combat, or at least not from what I saw on the demo at least. It's very much exploring and enjoying the movement and the beautiful surroundings more than anything else. Really enjoyed this demo, and it surprised me more than I thought it would. Well worth checking it out. It's coming at some point in 2024. Pioneers of Pagonia is our 12th on the list, and this is a city builder set in a fantasy era on the islands of Pagonia. For me, this reminded me of Banished or Anno 1800. You place your buildings down, be it housing, woodcutting, foraging, etc., and your citizens automatically build and go about their business. There will be co-op and missions, as well as procedurally generated maps of varying difficulty. It looked quite nice and played well from what I could see of it. You couldn't speed up time in single player though, so it did feel a bit slow at the beginning, especially while you're waiting for them to like all get off the boat and start building things. But yeah, this is a nice city builder from the looks of things, and if you like those kind of management style games. As I said, this isn't an RTS where you can manage the individual people directly, but more about giving you the power to create complex production chains and trade and build your economy and your city. This is due to release on the 13th of December 2023. We have another Unreal Engine 5 game, and this is Unawake, an intense first-person melee game where you decide the fate of humanity amidst the turmoil of merciless wars between nightmarish creatures from heaven and hell. It's a tactical first-person melee combat game. It's kind of like a first-person Souls-like in a way. You need to block and parry and counter to take down your enemies, although I think it's more of a linear story game. There's no campfires or super hard bosses, or you drop in your souls or your ergo or whatever on the floor. You'll level up your character and learn skills to customize how you play and use various weapons, including swords and bows. I found the demo to be more of a taster or a tech demo, if I'm honest. Really cool looking environments, but not much to them, one enemy at a time and all that, but it definitely has potential. Combat felt a little clunky at times, but there may be skill issues, as I do struggle with those kind of things. Check out the demo, check out the trailer. It seems really cool, like the premise of it. No release date yet. I feel like this one's a little bit earlier in its development and not quite as far as some of the others on this list. Maybe mid to late 2024 as a release date. We'll have to see. Second to last, we're almost there, guys. Quantum Knights was a weird one for me because on the one hand, you have this medieval fantasy setting with demons, ogres, people in suits of knight armor and all that. And the next thing you know, you guys pulling out an assault rifle and charging in, gunning down demons. The audio for me was in Korean, I believe, and it's got that high fantasy energy going for it for sure. It's a third-person shooter, basically with magic spells, rifles, and shotguns. You learn new skills and spells while you travel around the world undertaking missions, requests, as well as gathering and mining for resources. It's also going to be coming with a roguelite mode and a team deathmatch mode, but primarily I believe this is a third-person open-world shooter, like story shooter. It looks wild, but promising at the same time. Like, I feel like I shouldn't like this, but I kind of do. And my only concern is they're potentially biting off more than they can chew with 3 types of games here. Like, they've got the open-world third-person shooter, the team deathmatch PvP, and a roguelite, all thrown into one package. We will have to see if they stick the landing on this one. It's coming soon at the moment, so probably something to keep an eye on in 2024. Definitely check out the demo for this one, because honestly, I think it's one you got to try and see what you think yourself. Yeah, this one was just like wild, like just over the top fantasy action, and I was kind of here for it. And last but by no means least, we have Soulslinger, Envoy of Death. This is a first-person shooter roguelike where you play as a gunslinger stuck in limbo fighting the cartel who harvest souls in the afterlife. Each run you do helps you get stronger and take on bigger threats as you progress in the story. You can craft and upgrade your weapons and abilities, which you'll need, as this game throws a lot of enemies and waves at you, mixing in elite mobs along with the fodder. Movement felt quite nice with this one, and it's got that weird mix of fantasy, undead skeletons, while you're using old Wild West weapons like an undead cowboy cleansing the souls in hell. This is Q4 2023, so that means it's coming at some point later this year, although no release date yet. With less than 3 months to go until the end of the year, this may be an early Q1 2024 release perhaps, but yeah, check it out, wishlist it if that's your thing, and that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, this is but a snippet of the games and demos available. I tried to try a broad range of different games here, but please let me know in the comments which games you've checked out and recommend. It's really cool that Steam do this, and remember to wishlist the games. It helps the devs out immensely, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit that like button, drop a comment below while you're there, and if you haven't already, please consider hitting the subscribe button too. I'd really appreciate it. I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.